Hey, honeys and hunks. It's a week before we get the dude in the crazy jacket racking up them air miles points, but we got a lot of basketball before that happens. So, end of the year, literally, now season luckily. We got a race coming through right when you start Christmas. That's when the push begins, for everyone. As you got with me up north, we got Jade Auxiliary Things Johnson. How has your basketball absorption been this week?
It's been pretty good. There have been some interesting games. The Raptors didn't totally suck for a change. That was fun. Right. I watched Ja Morant's first game back last night. Like, damn that boy. 34 points, 35 minutes, assists, rebounds. Like, who knows where the Grizzlies would have been if he hadn't been suspended that first 25 games. Ooh. Crazy.
Ooh, yeah. I saw some of the highlights with it, and he like you were saying before we started recording. He loves the spotlight, and
he thrives in it. There hasn't been too many more NBA players that thrive in that situation quite like Ja Morant, and not in a long time.
He loves the attention on and off the court. Ha! I kid. And we got on the other side, we got Shay at Shay Watches NBA Vassar. Has there been any juicy gossip going around the league that's kept your eye out?
I mean, not really any of the news stuff, but I mean, yeah, Ja coming back is big news. We got a lot of, just weird stuff going on. Phoenix, and then we'll get into some of that, the big three. What is going on? Our big three's dead. I don't know. There's just a lot of interesting, the league is interesting right now.
Oh God, if there could be no more in the league, big threes.
I know.
That would be glorious.
Never gonna happen.
I know. They're gonna keep trying.
I'm not mad at it.
Stop
yeah.
I mean, as long as I'm okay with the big two with it, that makes things better. But all right, so this week we're going to be talking about the fall of a dynasty, and one that hasn't even reached the stratosphere because we get space with that. And then when you go east, we got Cavs. Their issues keep on getting worse and worse with some of their core pieces. Where it's going to happen with them, and then you got the opposite side of it all. You got Celtics. Can they be stopped in the Eastern Conference right now? Okay, so Jade, with this Golden State fall apart right now, with Draymond getting knocked out, there's some players haven't performed to what expectations have been. Like, say, for example, I love Wiggins, but he has not been playing up to what he was last year. So where does this Draymond suspension put this team?
So Dre is one of those players that he seems to take a backseat for a lot of fans to. Hold on one sec. I'm having a feedback thing, and I don't know where it's coming from, and it's totally distracting me.
That's fair.
Let's just get rid of this. There we go. Now I'm good. Sorry about that. We're streaming to Instagram Live today, and it plays at the same time, and I can't find where to mute it, so I'll figure that out for next week. So I'm hearing myself, but I'm hearing Taylor 15 seconds after, and I cannot collect my thoughts, but I got it straight now. So Draymond, he's not Steph and he's not Clay when you think about all of those championships they won, but he was so important to that team. He was kind of your spiritual leader. He still is. He's the energy guy. He's the defensive coordinator. So it's hard to lose somebody like that, especially when he's one of your three core guys who have been with the organization, who've been with all those playoffs, all those championships together. But on the other hand, as we know and as we've talked about at length, Dre has had such a volatile last couple of years. Even for Dre, it's been volatile the last couple of years, things that's been going on. So I'm really happy with the way that the NBA is approaching this. They're not putting a number on it. They're actually saying, let's get some help. Let's not just suspend someone and take away the one, maybe the one best thing in their life because they're obviously having a hard time. Let's handle this. Let's treat this like there's a human being behind it and not just somebody acting out.
He's a human.
Yes.
He's a human there. I like that a lot. I like that you mentioned that. Shay, you get emails. Shay, I gotta ask, when you saw the hit from Draymond to Nurkic, what was like your initial thought? Were you just like, really, Draymond, or was it more like a whoa?
It was more of a, okay, here's Draymond doing his thing again, because it's so typical. But the thing is like, obviously NBA players are tall, but like Nurkic is like a whole different foot. Like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not someone I would pick a fight with, even if I was more aggressive, like, just because he's so big.
His nickname is the Bosnian Beast.
Right.
That's his nickname.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Draymond, like, I always expect him to be more aggressive than other players, sure. But I guess, like, to this extent, it was just kind of like, I'm glad the league is, like Jade said, like, they're not putting a timetable on it. They're like, okay, we need to figure this out. For Draymond's sake too, because I think because he is part of that legacy team that has won multiple championships with the Warriors, he also is a guy that has gotten several different like commercial opportunities, and there's been times that he joins the TNT crowd and stuff. He's like known. So even if you don't know NBA players, like maybe some of the rookies or, yada, 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 I feel like Draymond Green is like someone that even non-NBA fans know at this point. So I like don't want him to turn into this like burnt out, cynical, aggressive guy. And so I think the league is actually seems to be doing something about it, which is rare because they don't always do stuff correctly when it comes to punishment or acting out. But I think with Draymond, this is like the best thing for him.
At least the NBA is showing, unlike the other major sports leagues in North America, that they are capable of growth.
Right.
No, I was listening to an interview he had a press conference about it, and Draymond said, I'm not a flopper, but I just felt a little contact from him, and you guys know I like to flail my arms out. And I'm like, you just said you're not a flopper. But then you just said, you guys know how I like to flail my arms around. And I'm like...
See, and I also read a quote from him talking to, is Michaela Andrews?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where he said, in those moments, everything just kind of goes black, or that's paraphrase. It's not exactly, but paraphrase. And like, what I know a little bit about psychology and the way the brain works is like, when you're blacking out, that's a thing... usually a psychological thing coming to the surface that needs to be dealt with. And the fact that it's happening in high in pressure, high stress situations, it's all very telling if you are into that kind of medical field research.
If you're into that.
I'm a little bit of a psychology buff.
YouTube's a great teacher. All right. So Steve Kerr has been getting a lot of heat because he's the coach and everything like that. Steph Curry, at least to what I've heard, haven't heard much from him. Should this be something where he steps in and voices his two cents about it all, or is it not even his thing to deal with, Shay?
I mean, I'm kind of split on this because it's like. We remember when it was very obvious that LeBron was basically the coach at the Lakers, and we'd get very frustrated about it. So there are times that superstars, and like when I think of superstars today, I do think of like LeBron and Curry. Like people, again, they face recognize them even if they haven't watched an NBA team or in 5 years. You know, like those are two guys that are known. And so one thing that I've always really admired about Curry, though, despite the fact that I really hate how he chews on his mouth guard, is that he is very respectful of like people above him, and like he's very humble at times, which doesn't always happen with other superstars, and not just like the other one I mentioned, LeBron, but like in other eras, right? And
Other
so
sports too.
other sports, yeah, like, you know, they throw hissy fits and they like get in like into it with their coaches. I mean, we've seen that with even Harden this year, is like getting in with like, that's like really gross to me. Like, I get it, the front office isn't always great, but like don't make it public. Like, I don't want to
So
know.
unprofessional. So
It's so
unprofessional.
Especially
and so
the verbiage used too.
yeah,
Verbiage used. He's a liar. Okay.
it's like, okay. So I am really happy that like Curry is not making a big deal about it in the forefront. I do think that maybe there could be more guidance from behind, and I don't think that Steve Kerr should take the complete fall, because this is not just a Steve Kerr thing. In general, there's been a shift. They're all getting older. The team is different. And that shift is going to be natural. So the fact that there seems to be so many like angry people about it, I think it's natural. There's always a season that comes after, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be shifts and changes, and I think it's just natural.
And I think as far as Steph Curry, I watched the Warriors beat the Celtics last night in overtime. And that was what the broadcasters were saying too, is that since Dre is that energy guy, it's not so much on the coaching side that Steph feels like he needs to step up, but it's on the floor. It's with the team that he realizes that there's an obvious gap that needs filling while Dre is away taking care of himself.
At the end of it, okay, so Rudy Gobert, I have to ask this. So Rudy Gobert said he just hopes Draymond gets the help he needs. Is Rudy being snarky?
Why does everybody always think Rudy's being snarky?
I think
he's French. I don't think he is.
No. This is not from Rudy's past. This isn't from like long. No, this is from just 2 weeks after he gets choked out on the court. You see Yusuf Nurkic get knocked in the face.
Right.
I'm not saying it as him being French. No, that has nothing to do with anything. No, I don't. That
Rudy just gets so much hate that I don't really understand generally. Like, not even you, just generally from NBA fans.
I totally get.
I don't understand.
I get the vibe too. I get it. For me, if anything, it's because he played in Utah. Utah is in my division, and also I just don't like Utah. It's nothing against anyone there. I just don't. I'm sure it's beautiful, but no. Yeah, I'm sure it's beautiful. But so Jade, where does Golden State go later on? Say without Draymond, they actually become better. Where does that situation put with Draymond with a extension?
Oh, that's difficult. Mostly because Golden State is such a stand-up organization. They've drafted their guys, they've developed them, they've kept them, they've paid them over and over. And kind of those three guys, Steph, Clay, and Dre, it's like when DeMar DeRozan got traded and he was no longer in a Raptors uniform. It just seems wrong. And it's that same thing with those three guys, including Dre, since we're talking about him. Like, my brain will not picture him in any other uniform than a Golden State uniform. Like, it won't be able to until and unless it actually happens and I see it on my TV screen. So it's hard to say. And here's the other thing for me. One of the things that I find that as a society and as sports organizations, we're not very good at is letting go of people's mistakes. And so one of the things that I think is involved in that is you don't ship somebody off after they've done something like this, if they take the steps that they need to take to get better, to be able to manage whatever it is that's going on that's causing him to act out this way. And so it seems like kind of a negative reinforcement for him to do all of this work and then be moved from his forever NBA home.
That's where. So say Draymond decides to leave, just because he needs new place. Shay, where do you think he could end up? Do you think he's still going to go to big team, or is it going to maybe switch it up in the market?
That's such a hard question because, like, again, that energy that he brings is just would benefit so many teams. It doesn't matter, small market, big market. So I could see him really fitting in anywhere. I do think it would be unnatural, though, to see him not in a Golden State jersey. Like, I'm like, for some reason, my brain immediately went to the Blazers, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like that." I don't like that. So I started thinking of like other teams and like just seeing him in other jerseys, like the Celtics jersey. Gross. I don't like that either. It's just, I don't.
So
if he wants to leave, I hope he goes somewhere. Yeah, like I could see him possibly like bringing some action to the Knicks. I don't think it'll be successful because everything the Knicks does is never long term. Detroit might be a good fit because they have a lot of pieces right now. They're just not working together.
I don't know that the Warriors would send him to Detroit right now, though.
Trade him back for Justin Wiseman.
So I don't know. It's hard. I don't want him to leave.
That's one of those things. Dre is one of those guys in the league, especially because he's played so many years behind Clay and behind Steph and behind Kevin Durant when he was there. Like, he's never going to go anywhere and expect to have to be the guy. He's going to fit into whatever space any team has. So, like, literally, you could drop him anywhere and he's going to improve a team. But like we both said already, it feels so weird to think about him anywhere but Golden State.
Speaking of things that just seem weird, the things going on in Phoenix. Bradley Beal keeps on getting injured, and then Booker's been injured a handful of times. Kevin Durant, of course, though, is always the one that has remained healthy. Are we going to see this team shine, Jade, or is this going to be a flat team by the end of the year? We're going to see an eclipse.
Well, first of all, I'm just going to say, did anybody really expect Bradley Beal to be healthy? Like, no. Really? Did Phoenix really expect that Bradley Beal was going to get like a long run of being healthy? He hadn't played, and then he played like, 4 games, and now he's out again. And, you know, no question about his talent as a basketball player, but like, he's up there with AD for me in terms of what his availability has been like since the 18-19 season. Like, and even before that, like his first season, 56 games played. Third season, 63. Fourth season, 55. Then he had some solid seasons, 75. And then he played all the games 17 through 19. But then 19, 20, 57, 60, 40, 50. And now 6 this season. So, like, at a certain point, you can you really call that a big three? When Beal's barely even playing at all?
I want the NBA to look into the Wizards medical staff, just because of look at what has happened to, say, Beal and Wall. I'm sure there's maybe a couple other handful of ones that had some, but I don't like a lot of big injuries in that one. But that's also just the human body. Shay, do you think this Phoenix team is going to be able to make it in the playoffs in this tight Western Conference?
I think they'll make it to the playoffs, possibly. Sorry.
A play-in or playoff?
Probably play-in. Yeah. Like, they're going to make it to the postseason, I should say. They are not going to make it all the way.
They won't make it. If they make it through the play-in, I don't think they're getting through the first round.
No,
this season.
They like, in seeing them in person, like against the Nets, like it's funny. It feels like someone who's like book smart, but like has no street smart.
Ooh, interesting.
Because
all the talent's there, but no application.
Yes,
Every coach.
they have so much talent there, but like no personality. And so
as a team, yeah,
it was hard watching them play against Brooklyn Nets, who are all personality, all scrappiness, and we just did better against them. But yet that was the debut of the big three, was that night. So I was so excited we beat them.
That was such a, like, what an awesome game for you to happen to be in Arizona.
I know.
For. Like, what?
And I saw only 2 other Brooklyn fans, like, because the Suns fans are so dedicated.
Yeah.
It was like a sold out game, two Brooklyn fans. And of course I was getting a lot of dirty looks because every time I cheered, every time Brooklyn. Yeah, I was a little afraid I was going to get beat up, but I was with some guys who are like above 6 foot. So I was like, it's fine. But it was fun. It was a fun game. The base, like the fan base, is really energetic and has personality, but no, like until Devin Booker started hitting, and Beal, I kind of forgot he even played for the team, because even though it was his debut, he wasn't really on the court. Like they put him in, would take him out. Like it was weird.
Jade, is this a similar story to KD's time in Brooklyn? Maybe
yeah, I can see the parallels. Yeah, I can see the parallels without the element of like the players deciding to team up in Brooklyn, because this was, trades and signings and stuff like that, the traditional way. But yeah, definitely, the idea of adding that piece. But at the same time, a lot of Brooklyn's issues, KD was kind of like the only non-issue in Brooklyn out of those 3 guys at the time.
Which that's the thing.
Right? Like it seems like that time period, KD finally grew up, and Harden and Irving just kind of stayed Harden and Irving. But with the injuries, with the not being available, with this idea, and I'm like, I'm just waiting. I feel like it's imminent that the league is going to finally move on from this idea of like, let's just put stars together and see what happens. Because there are so many small market teams doing basketball a different way and killing it right now. So I think at some point, I think there's always going to be that team here and there that's going to try and do that. It's always going to be a big market team, your LAs, your New Yorks, your Brooklyn, like all of those big population teams. But I think we're going to see that go away in a little bit. What's going to happen in Phoenix, man? I don't know. It always looks good. It always seems good on paper, but it seems like there are always so many variables that just aren't coming into account when these deals get made and when these players end up on teams like this. And like, I'm trying to see where. So he's Beal's under contract with the Suns until 26-27.
Oh, that's a bad contract.
Right?
2027 is not even a year.
No, I can't even imagine.
I still think it's 2018.
5 years, $251 million he signed in July 22. And then he was traded. And then he was traded to Phoenix. So that's a Wizards contract. So obviously it's a terrible contract. But like the Suns, that like how I just don't understand how, with his history of injury, the Suns go, yeah, let's do this.
They're like, we're going to put it all on the table for pretty much like 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I just checked up. Frank Vogel is their coach. Is he a man that can do the job, Shay?
No. Oh my gosh, no. Again, LeBron was the one coaching when Frank Vogel was the coach of the Lakers. So
just in case there was any question about that lingering.
I used to have so much respect for him as a coach because he had the Pacers team that almost beat the Miami Heat Big Three. took them to Game 7 in the conference finals and just barely beat them. Granted, that was a crazy Indiana squad. Now I'm like, you have all this talent, and you can't. Frank, are you a fake coach? Are you a fake coach? Jade, is he a fake coach?
I mean, he's a coach, so he's not fake.
Meaning, like, he's getting, like, in the facts where, like, every team wants him, but then they either, like, he's like a Mike D'Antoni.
I think that's more of a
great or real bad.
Yeah, I think that's more of a commentary on the way the NBA hires coaches than it is specifically on Vogel, because like the NBA coaching pool has been very, 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 very small for many, many years. And that's just kind of how they seem to want to do it. Like if you haven't been an NBA head coach before, you might get a job, but if you have, someone's going to hire you. Look at Doc. Doc Rivers is only just now not coaching in the NBA after multiple blown playoff series leads over 7-8 years. So,
well, and then like Doc also has like the guaranteed fan base, so that's why he could go into broadcasting, like because he's been
got that 2008 finals. Don't forget.
True.
Just in case you forgot.
The team that didn't need a coach, another team that didn't need the coach.
Right, he is a figurehead.
But I will say this: I don't mind him as a broadcaster. Don't mind him at all.
He's so good. I like his voice.
I just don't care for him. Just don't. He'll get you to the playoffs. That's totally great. Fair. I mean, in my situation as a Timberwolves fan, I'll take the playoffs. Give me to the second round. That sounds great. Second round sounds great. Give me 2 wins in the first round. That's great. But okay, I don't want to talk about these big teams anymore. I want to talk about our home teams. And you know who does a great job talking about home teams?
So it's been a fun week for basketball. We're going to start with the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves, along with the Boston Celtics, are the first teams to reach 20 wins this season. Who saw that coming?
One of the most storied franchises and one of the worst, actually the worst franchise. So, yeah, I have no idea. No idea.
Crazy. So, and you went big in your predictions this week.
Right.
The Timberwolves weren't going to lose, and the Timberwolves didn't lose last week. Beat the Mavericks, beat the Pacers, beat the Heat. None of these are garbage teams. None of them. The Heat you can never predict. The Pacers are rolling, and the Mavericks. Luka Doncic is just like. It gets old to call him a cheat code, but my gosh, that boy.
We were down 17.
Also that.
We were down 17.
So how did they turn it around?
I don't know.
Were you at work? Damn.
I had stopped watching it because I was just like,
you're down 17.
There was a big college basketball game on. Oh no, it was because there was basketball on TNT. So I was just like, well, people would rather watch the TNT game right now anyways because we're down already big. And then, yeah, I like checked the score and I was like, well, who? I guess I missed it. I watched the Heat game, and this one was big because Jimmy hasn't played us in years. It hasn't been since the first season he was with Miami. That was the last time we played him. He still hasn't played us in Minnesota ever since he got traded. He has never played at the Target Center.
I did not realize this.
And he had a pretty good game, but definitely was not a factor. Bam was the primary thing, and Rudy Gobert.
It almost feels like you want to be excited, but it's still Rudy Gobert, and you don't really care for him.
No.
Right?
No. I'm talking about how stoked I am with him.
Okay.
This guy is leading by a solid margin for Defensive Player of the Year right now.
Again.
We have the best defensive rating by a long spot, not just solely because of Rudy Gobert, but he's the leader and he's gotten the team to buy in. Cat is having his best defensive year ever of his entire career. When you look at best defensive ratings among bigs, Rudy's number 1, Cat's number 2. Cat's not getting in foul trouble anymore. They had an interview with Cat, and he goes like, "What's different from other years?" And he's just like, "Not gonna lie, it's nice to be one of the planets instead of the sun." And I was like, "Because that's who you are. You're not Anthony Edwards is the sun.
Yes.
You're like Jupiter, whichever's the biggest planet. You're that one. You're the biggest planet." But it was refreshing to him kindly officially say, "Nah, this isn't my team." But then like Rudy is one of the other big,
that whole situation of them all like accepting the best role for the team, it has to be so encouraging for Timberwolves fans.
And
there's none of that infighting that other stars get. None of the question of who's doing what or whose team it is, who's in charge. Like figuring that stuff out is so important for a roster.
And see, McDaniels, who is also one of our key defensive players and like our co-guy with Anthony Edwards for our future, he's been out with some injuries.
Yes, he has. I know because I have him on my fantasy rosters.
But so we have SGA's cousin. He has stepped up. Nickeil Alexander Walker. He has been killing it for us. There's another guy that was rocking the Lakers bench deep and was on like I think our G League. Troy Brown Jr. is a 3-point sniper for us. So people are just like they're like I wake up and think of that's right. The Timberwolves are first in the league, and I wake up being like, "Is this reality?"
Well, it looks pretty real. 2 full lines of wins. So
I can't wait to see them next week.
You called 46 wins. You got 20. So in 3 more wins, you will be halfway to your season prediction for the Timberwolves. And it's not even All-Star break yet.
It's not even the beginning of the new year.
It's not even like madness. So this week coming up, you've got at 76ers. Like what? I noticed this again this week. What is with the schedule? This is such a bullshit schedule.
From I think it was like the beginning of December. From beginning of December till like January 8th, 16 straight games of all above 500 playoff teams.
But not even that. This week I'm looking at the travel. Tonight you're in Philly. Tomorrow you're playing the Lakers in LA.
No, they're coming here.
Are they coming here? Okay, I must have got it mixed up then. But even
if they're at Philly, then
back with travel. Which, and not a little bit of travel. Like Philly's not that close to Minnesota.
No, it's not.
You know.
No, it's not.
And then you're at Sacramento on Saturday. So what are your predictions for your week?
Just because like everything's so good, but I know that the schedule is so rough that there's gonna be a game that we get sandbagged. I think win, loss against the Kings. I say win against the Lakers just because I want us to. That could be the one that we lose to. I just want us to win.
I don't know. I think you guys can take. I've watched the Lakers play this season. I don't think the Lakers are going to be a big problem.
I'm waiting for LeBron to do the big blow up that he does with every team that he does. Like hit one of like when he was with his first stint with his second stint with the Cavs. Literally right away, he was like, "Nah, screw this. I want a new team." His right away with the Lakers. I don't like this team. Let's get rid of half of it by midseason. Like, no. They're not going to be
I think even LeBron has to know that train is coming to an end. He's not going to be able to just keep doing that.
Unless you're Anthony Davis, you and Austin Reeves, you're up on the trading block if you're a Lakers player.
Oh, 100%.
You're up on the trading
Russell
block.
too?
He's not on the Lakers.
D'Angelo Russell?
Oh, D'Angelo? Oh, yeah. I've already seen reports on that.
Yeah.
I've already seen some trade. Or at least he's in the market because Lakers are in the market. So
yeah, the Lakers are always in the market.
yeah.
All right, so we're looking at a 2-win, 1-loss week, hopefully for the Timberwolves. Hopefully all wins, but for the purposes of our scorekeeping.
That means we'd be like on an 8-game win streak at that point.
Nice. Well, I don't know what an 8-game win streak looks like. I don't think I will know what an 8-game looks like for the entire season. That's not happening. But I did have a good week with my predictions. I nailed all 3. We beat the Hawks. We lost to the Hawks. We beat the Hornets. Exactly how it needed to go. Man, the Raptors are having terrible starts. The Raptors start terribly. And what I think needs to happen is Scotty Barnes needs to realize that he is the man on this team. Because what has happened a lot of times is that we've been behind, the Raptors have been behind, and then all of a sudden Scotty Barnes is like, okay, I need to take over. And then he takes over and they come from behind and they get wins or they end up back in the game. But the challenge with that is, like we were talking about with Draymond, these are human beings. And sometimes when you put pressure on a human being before they're ready for that pressure, it throws everything off. And I think the Raptors organization is aware of that. So they're just kind of, we're going to let Scotty figure this out in his own time. And if you believe in a player, if you believe in someone like Scotty Barnes, the way that the Raptors fan base does in the front office, he's going to get there eventually. You don't have to push him, especially in a season that wasn't going to be about lots of wins anyways. Like, Raptors fans, can we just accept new coach, trying to figure out our identity as a team again? This was not going to be the season where we won 50 games again. 2 seasons from now, we'll talk about it. So that week went well. So I'm 11-15, which is actually the exact record of the Raptors right now. They're 11-15. So do with that what you will. I added 2 wins this week. Didn't get any wins last week. So 2 wins this week, up to 11. Finally got my first ball on that second row of wins.
Double digits.
Man, it's gonna. You know what? I only added 2 more wins this year than we had last year. We ended up 41-41 last year, and it's starting to feel like we're not even gonna get there. So we're not going to talk about the Raptors too much anymore. We'll talk about this upcoming week. Nuggets, Sixers, Jazz, loss, win. That's an easy call for me. I don't see any way that goes any other way. We could lose to the Jazz, but I don't think we're going to beat the Nuggets or the Sixers. Embiid has been just a beast. And I was thinking about this. I'm like, I'm so mad that he got MVP last season because Joker deserved it last season. Embiid might actually deserve it this season. And now we're going to be in a position where either he's not going to get one that he deserves or he's going to get back-to-back MVPs that he didn't deserve. So thank you, voting media, for messing that up.
Is it going to be kind of a James Harden situation where, like, if it wasn't for Russell Westbrook averaging that triple-double, James Harden would have won that MVP that season? And so the next season, it wasn't that great of it was still a great season for him. But when you compare it to the season before, that next season, he didn't play as well as the season before, but he still got the MVP. So I'm curious if it was more like you should have had it last year.
I think it's more that they didn't want to give Joker 3 in a row. I think that was really the sticker that pushed it over to Embiid, was that, like, Joker deserved it. Like, you cannot tell me that Joker did not deserve to be MVP last season. He might deserve it again this season, but, like, I don't think it's going to be. I would be really happy if it was neither of them and if it was Luka or SGA. That's what I'm hoping happens.
If OKC can remain in the top 4 in the Western Conference, SGA is my MVP.
Yeah. And I think they're going to be able to.
It's going to be, he's going to win MVP, and then Chet's going to win Rookie of the Year. That's if they're top 4.
Man, that would be crazy if that
they're
happens.
Top 4 in Western Conference. That's what I have to say about that team. And I'm not even saying this because Chet Holmgren is a hometown boy. I've been saying he's a dark horse for.
No, I think he's going to win too. So, like, we did our 2 early predictions, and I built in a chance for us to change our predictions. So if you don't change your prediction, you're going to get more points. But
Gotcha.
I will be changing some of my my preseason award picks when we review this, which will be at All-Star break. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna go on to Shay's Nets now. So as we know, Shay was at that Suns game.
Yep.
You thought you would lose, but you won. So that's kind of that bittersweet. You don't get points here, but the Nets beat the Suns at home. How cool is
Exactly.
that? You beat the Nuggets and the Warriors after, or you lost to the Nuggets and the Warriors after that, so you get points for that. And then didn't beat the Jazz, so you don't get points. But you're still leading us. Taylor's creeping up on you now, though.
I know.
Because you're at 692 on the season now.
You know that the
Taylor's at
Timberwolves are doing
640.
good too when you're able to predict correct wins.
Right.
So I'm a little jealous, but it's okay. It's okay.
See, at least with the Jazz one, whenever you lose to a bad team, and this is because I've been a bad team, that means they were shooting the lights out. Like it was one of those. It was one of those nights of, now they shot 18 for 30 from deep. Like they got to the free throw line another 20 times. Like no,
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking at the box score from that game right now. And let's see, they shot 49.5% from the field and 41%. They went 14 for 34 from three, but the Nets went 16 for 39. So they shot almost the same 3-pointers. Okay. They shot 21 for 24 free throws, the Jazz, only 14 for 20, the Nets. Rebounding, the Jazz out-rebounded them like crazy. Assists were pretty even. Blocks were even. Steals were fairly even. Turnovers were even. Points in the paint, 54 for the Jazz, 36 for the Nets. So there it is. That was the game right there. So this that puts Shay. Oops, my thing does not want to scroll for me. There we go. 13 of 42 wins. So we're creeping up there. We're creeping up there. And for this coming week, the schedule for the Nets.
I know, I just had it up too.
Knicks, Nuggets, Pistons. What do you call?
It's gonna be win-loss win.
Watch, it's gonna be loss win-win.
I know, I thought about that.
No, it's gonna be win-win loss.
Well, because the Knicks are hit or miss.
It's going to be win-win loss.
Really? You think that the Nets are going to be the game that the Pistons break their 20-plus game losing skid to?
We would be the one.
So that's like Dame time showing up against the Raptors. It's like just the thing that would happen to your team.
That's a Timberwolves move from when they were like 10th seed, 9th seed kind of thing, where like, this is still a team that you should beat. You should beat. Damn it. Why was this the night that you got sandbagged so hard?
Yep. All right, so that is the week in home teams. We will have all of these posted to our Twitter. Keep an eye through the week to see how we do, and we will review when we are back here again next week.
Oh, man, gotta love where my is at with all of this. There's a lot of people, I will say, that are changing their tune on Connolly, our president GM. But, all right. So now we're going to hit up the Eastern Conference now. Whoa.
That's not what I want.
Check it.
There we go. Check
it. We are all up in center. So, of recently, Cavaliers, they just lost Darius Garland to a broken jaw. He'll be out for a bit. Evan Mobley, he's out for a couple weeks, 6 to 8 weeks because of knee surgery. Donovan Mitchell's already kind of been heard being on the trading block. Jarrett Allen, he's there, but he is not the offense that you necessarily can get that they need. Jade, where do they go right now? Do they try to keep their core and run it, hope it stays for the rest of the season? Or do they think they should be moving some of those big pieces like Mitchell and Allen?
It's so hard when you're dealing with injuries like that to try and decide what moves to make mid-season. And I'm confused by the idea that they're looking at trading Donovan Mitchell Like, he's their best player, and it's not been close this season. He has had a little bit of injuries, but he's been back and he's playing really well. So I think if you're gonna if trading Donovan Mitchell is something that you're thinking about doing, you got to be thinking about blowing it up. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you move Donovan Mitchell and that's not your next step. Is we're just going to rebuild altogether.
Well, Darius Garland and Evan Mobley are your main pieces, and they're still relatively young.
That's the thing. Like, I think if it was me, I would play out this season and give those three guys another beginning of a season together and see what happens. I think it's a little bit knowing the talent and knowing that it's not even that they are a poorly constructed roster. The roster makes pretty good sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense.
And when all those guys are available, they are productive. But it just doesn't seem like that they have figured out how to all be productive, balanced at the same time. And I think that's just sometimes it takes longer than you would like for those things to come together. And I think a lot of the times NBA teams get a little too antsy about things not clicking together right away, and they start moving things, and then you're now starting from the bottom again. And then if it doesn't click fast enough, you're moving things again. Sometimes you have to let things breathe a little bit to see, like, there's a such thing as making too many moves too soon. And I think the Cleveland is in a situation where if they start moving big things right now, they're going to look back and at 2023 and be like, man, we had these three guys and we jumped the gun. We did a knee jerk thing and it wasn't the right move.
So what about Allen though? Shay, where does he fit in this mix of it all? Because he's been great for them, but Evan Mobley's natural position, for me at least, I feel like it's more of the center instead of the power forward. And Jared's got that center position. So do you think maybe they could move him, get some Band-Aid pieces while Mobley and Garland are out? Because they're not gone for the season. They're not gone for the season.
Right.
Back. Garland will be back probably mid-January, and Mobley will probably be back right around All-Star break. So they can still make up time. There's not that thing.
And their schedule into mid-January is not that bad. They've got the Jazz, Pelicans, Cavs, Mavs, Bucks, Raptors, Wizards, Spurs, Nets, Bulls. Like, they're if they can get through this stretch with them out over the next few weeks, their schedule doesn't really get super hard again until those guys would be back kind of end of January, beginning of February.
And I think that's a safer bet than doing a whole bunch of trades.
Yeah.
I guess with a schedule like that, having a Mitchell and Allen combo isn't bad because that's just like
exactly.
Utah. And Utah at least was a playoff team. So, and I know there's other pieces in Cleveland, like Okoro, that he's a real key piece. He's their defensive specialist. Poor Ricky Rubio had to retire because one too many knee injuries. Yeah. But going to a team that doesn't need to worry about anything really right now, Boston. Jade, they are 20-5. Can anyone in the Eastern Conference keep up with this team?
The only team that I think has a chance is the Bucks if they really figure out how to get Giannis and Dame really going at the same time. It was Giannis early on, and then Dame came on that game against the Raptors early on, and he hasn't looked back. Like, he's been in the zone since then. He got, I think it was 20 or 25,000 points he cleared this week. Career 25,000 points. So if the Bucks can't figure out their scoring with their big two, then like finals or bust for Boston.
Yeah.
Which I'm really, I shouldn't say necessarily surprised, but one of their key pieces, at least on defense,
Derek White. Al Horford.
Horford.
Yeah.
Wonder on the defensive end. Ageless wonder.
I'm so mad I traded him earlier in the season.
Him and Porzingis have also really meshed together.
Yes.
Finally, Porzingis is finding a spot.
between injuries because it's Porzingis.
Yeah, but at least when he's in, this is like this is the player that we had been expecting years ago.
Yeah.
Like when he does play. But no, Derek White, Jade, you are completely right.
Like, where did he come from?
A Greg Popovich system, and then he grew from with that. That's why.
Yeah. And this just goes to show people, like in the NBA, people are always so hard on players when they think they're underperforming. But sometimes the right situation really matters for a player before they can find their footing and what they're good at and how they're going to score and how they're going to contribute to a team. It's not always just that a player is trash, as is the favorite word for NBA fans, for players who seem to be not as good as they expected.
Well, I think it might also be with having when you get drafted, everyone expects you to be, no matter when you get drafted necessarily, you expect to be the greatest of all time.
Right.
Sometimes you need like 5-6 years to be like, I'm far from that. What's the things that I'm actually really good at?
Yeah.
That this year and then for the next 8 years of my career, teams are going to want me because I could do these two things really well.
And consistently.
Danny Green, that he is one of the biggest ones. Also, he came in a Popovich system.
Yeah.
It was Popovich system. So unless you're in a Greg Popovich system, you're never going to beat Boston. But never going to. Is the combination of Jaylen Brown and Tatum going to be the main factors to get them to the finals, or is it going to be overall a team aspect, Jade?
I think Boston's a really well-constructed team, and they're a well-coached team. But the Jays are kind of the thing for me. You need everybody to play their roles. Your Al Horfords, your Derek Whites. You need everybody else to show up.
Drew Holiday,
for sure. But if the Jays are not the spearhead of your offense for Boston, I think that makes you vulnerable. So overall, everyone's got to show up. But if the Jays, like, God forbid, they both had bad nights at the same time, or some team in the playoffs figures out how to stop them both at the same time, that's a problem if you're Boston. I don't really see that happening, but that's kind of the kind of linchpin for me, that if those guys are not able to show up, then you got to worry about Boston. But it doesn't look like those worries are anywhere on the horizon right now.
Yeah, they are. So, see, that's a team where my Timberwolves have the exact same record, yet when I watch them go into a game, I'm always like, and when Boston goes into the game, I'm like, Boston's going to win.
Yeah. Well, and Boston's one a season or two removed from where the Timberwolves are right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like Boston had that season a couple years ago where it was like, okay, Boston's winning a lot, but you don't necessarily expect it every time.
When is it going to snap?
Right.
But yeah, so no one can compete with Boston, I think, right now. It's the general census. Unless, Shay, do you have any idea? Your Nets?
Look, I
Nick
don't
Claxton
have any idea.
The Nets are one of those scrappy teams that I feel like on any given night might pull out some crazy win.
Exactly.
But when you're saying, are they the team that's going to like slow down Boston? I don't know if you can go there.
I don't think they're there. I mean, they're so much fun to watch. Like, don't get me wrong.
They really are.
They're motivated. They seem to really enjoy playing together. But do I think they're Boston's biggest competition right now? No.
I'm curious where Boston will go end of the season. Say they don't at least make it to the finals.
Right.
Because this will be their second time going to the finals, third time roughly with this same kind of crew.
Yeah.
At least with those two guys being the head of it all. Like,
I don't know. I think Drew Holiday's defense might be the magic ingredient to get them over the hump.
Defense, and then he is so much better offensively than Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
So there is.
Man, Marcus Smart fell off a cliff and then got injured, I think, this season?
I think so. I think so.
Right.
So yeah, he dropped off. Environment.
It
That's
matters.
look where Grizzly. I mean, Ja came back crazy last night.
Right.
It came back crazy. So they're definitely going to have at least a little bit of a swing of a difference. I think it might be a little bit too late with that because they're like got like 6 wins.
I mean, I think they would have to be that 10th seed going through, like they'd have to be Miami 2 seasons ago.
Yes, and I don't think they have that kind of. They don't have the vet experience to get through that.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, I want to get some laughs. I want to see some tweets. So I think Shay can cover us on that one. He's got some stuff.
Okay. Bookmarked. Well, I'll start off with a goodie. Where is that? Right here. From NBA Paint. Durant. Him at the buzzer. Finish him. I thought that was so cute.
That was great.
And like I am really excited for Ja's return. I think, like whatever. I'm glad it's over.
Ja's good for the NBA. Like there's no question about it.
100%. So one thing we did not talk about this week, and I might butcher his. Kidding. I'm here. I might butcher Oscar's last name, but from Seeker, Oscar Deshibwe, when Giannis ran into the Pacers locker room. This was something we did not mention.
True.
This was the same night that I was at the Phoenix game. I literally saw 2 girls in front of me looking up the information, and I was like, I Googled Giannis, and this whole controversy is so funny because basically the Pacers said that they gave the game ball to Oscar because he is like a rookie and it's always been his dream to play in the NBA. But this was also the same night that Giannis, what did he score? Like
64.
Right. So he wanted to take home the game ball. He gets very heated, whatever. It comes out later that this same rookie actually scored points in the in-season tournament.
Oh.
Is what I saw. I don't know how it ended up being finalized. I think Giannis ended up getting the ball, but
well, they have 2. So the interview I saw with the Pacers, Rick Carlisle, said that there are 2 official game balls. And they were like, we didn't need the game ball. We just we weren't thinking about Giannis. We were thinking about our team and our rookie scoring his first NBA points, which apparently is in question now. This is new information to me that I'm just getting right now. But he was like, we didn't need it. Like we would have took the other ball. We weren't really thinking about Giannis after the game. Like, because I think I find that to be perfectly reasonable.
Same. Completely.
I understand Giannis's frustration. How he went about it, like they took his only son. That was my thing. I was just like, okay, like let's cool it now. Like, yeah, sure. Go in the locker room and get your frustration. You don't need to be running into it like it's Malice at the Palace.
Right.
It's the game ball. I get frustration.
Like it's just the game ball.
I get.
Okay, I'm looking up this. I'm looking up Oscar Deshibwe's. I'm gonna figure out how to pronounce his name because it's one of my biggest pet peeves is people that talk about sports and don't learn these people's names. But I'm looking at his stats because I want to see if there's like official stats for like him scoring before then because that makes this whole thing just so much more ridiculous. Like, how I don't understand how that happens. So I'm pulling them up on Basketball Reference right now.
I don't know how I feel about on the Pacers, and I don't know. Like it's the only reason why I think it got blown up was because of, like I said reaction by Giannis. How they have security pulling him back. Doesn't help that he's 7'2".
Right.
Or whatever. Like 7. You see a man that large running. It's going to look crazy. You see him on the fast break. No one wants to take a charge off that dude. Nobody wants to. If you do, you have some serious cajones.
Points one. No, according to Basketball Reference, he
He
didn't.
did it?
That was the first game he's even played. He was
Okay,
did
so,
not
like-
play and inactive for the rest of the beginning of the season.
Okay, so it was a legitimate rookie
Yes.
scoring his points.
Yes.
Okay. So rumor had it, but rumor has been
Rumor
debunked.
has it. Ooh.
Debunked.
Rumor has
Thank
it,
you,
ooh.
basketballreference.com.
Rumor has it,
All right, so from Brooklyn Netcast, quote tweeting, "You deserve better," tagging Kevin Durant. And Brooklyn Netcast said he literally asked to go to Phoenix. Why are people feeling bad for him? And I do
Agreed.
agree.
Yes.
I do agree.
He
Like,
got exactly what he wanted. Like, it's not like Kawhi being sent to NBA Siberia up here in Toronto.
right.
It's not the same.
Is he complaining that much?
I
I
don't
don't
think he
think
is.
so.
I
don't
haven't
think so.
heard. I haven't really heard much from him. Like I've seen like tweets and stuff, but like that's just.
I think he's grown
Twitter's
out
just-
of a lot of that
Exactly.
internet persona he had when he was younger. I think he's matured out of it a lot. I haven't heard him complaining.
No.
I think him going to Brooklyn almost kind of helped him looking at being like, oh, you guys are all crazy. I just don't want to talk to people. You
Like-
guys are crazy.
Kind of a wake-up call of like, okay, I can go this way or I can go this way.
At the end of it all, I've always said he doesn't want to be talked to. He just wants to play basketball.
Yeah,
That's
he just
all
wants
he
to
wants to do. He's a hooper. And I get that.
and that's okay. That needs to be okay.
Exactly. You love the game. Great. You don't got to be, like I said, I'm sure he realized I'm the calmest on the team. No, that's not good. That's not good. That's some bad juju around. Kyrie should have caught on with that one.
Not a winning recipe.
No, it's not.
Okay, I found. So this was something I had forgotten about a couple weeks back. This is the only thing I've heard about Kevin Durant this year. There was this tweet from Nice Kicks. Do you think Kevin Durant would ever wear Anthony Edwards' Adidas sneaker? And Kevin Durant quote tweeted it and said, "Won't ever see me put a big toe in them MFers." And Adidas replied and said, "You dusty about to retire soon anyway." It has since been deleted because Adidas should not do that.
No.
Also because it's Kevin Durant. Like, look, I've had beef with him, but like, I'm not gonna say he's dusty.
Well,
Like
also,
really.
the other thing, Kevin Durant is a Nike guy.
Right.
He's got a lifetime contract with Nike. So of course he's gonna say that. That was my other thing. So and then I was just like, Adidas, you just being petty. You just
Very.
being salty.
Just being petty.
Because I'm curious if they even realized, oh wait, yeah. That's a smart move by Nike.
Like,
having their big
the man
one of
is-
their yeah.
Man's averaging 31 points, 6 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and shooting 46%, 47% from 3, and 52% from the field. Like,
Kevin Durant.
really, you're gonna call him dusty? That's this season.
Yeah.
That's right now. Like, come on, guys.
Everyone talks about how LeBron is built differently. Kevin Durant is right up there too.
Oh yeah.
Right up there. Because he is 35, something like that. He got drafted 07.
Yeah, like 34, 35.
Yeah. And he's come off of an Achilles tear. And look, he's still
True.
the game so effortlessly. So Adidas,
Man, he's
check
been in the league 15 years already. God, basketball makes me feel old all of a sudden.
right? I remember seeing him I remember watching him being in a Sonics jersey.
Oh my gosh.
He was
Yeah.
I know when the hardcore Honey's question, fast break question before, but him and Jeff Green are the only remnants of Seattle NBA basketball in this league today. Only basketball remnants.
Oh,
Well, on that note, I didn't have a lot of funnies this week, but there was some drama.
There
So
was
That's
some
what
drama.
matters. It's drama or funny. That's what we're here for.
yeah. So that's
Okay.
it for NBA Twitter.
Well, this week has been a lot of fun and chatting. We got to talk about the mayhem and gossip that is going in Golden State. Also, the drama that is going in Phoenix with Beal not mixing in because he's not even in an ingredient right now for some reason.
Right.
Cavs hopefully going to keep strong while they're dealing with injuries, and Boston being top dog in Easton. Nobody's really going to really compete for that. But so before we wrap up today, we have ourselves the fast break where I have 3 questions that Shane Jade have zero knowledge of, and I'm going to see if I can stump them. Okay, this past week, Curry had his NBA record of most consecutive games with a 3-pointer ended. How many games was it consecutively? A, 273. B, 297. C, 268. Or D, 284.
I'm gonna go C. Sorry.
I'm also going C because they were talking about this last night during the game I was watching, but I can't exactly remember, but I think it's 268.
You are both correct with it. Last game that he had not made a 3-pointer. Let me pull up the.
It was
Dang.
2018, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was 2018.
It was really funny because Reggie Miller was calling that game. And he's like, man, I thought my 64 or whatever it is, it's 60 and change consecutive games with the 3 was a lot. He's like, man, Steph, you want to talk about built different? Steph Curry, like
Right.
November 8th, 2018.
2000, and they're like, he might not have another game where he misses a 3-pointer for the rest of his career.
Right.
Like that's a legitimate possibility with that dude.
Or watch his last shot ever of his career, he misses. It's a 3-pointer that he misses.
That hurts me just thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't like
that
at all.
That hurts me, but that would also make me laugh so hard, being like, so this is how we're gonna end it. That's how we're gonna end it. All right. So second question. I'm gonna do a true or false. This could be a little bit of a gimme for you guys. True or false? Dirk never started on an all-star team. Jade?
I bet that's true. Travesty, but I bet it's true.
I'm gonna say false just for the hell of it.
He was never on the all-star team.
Dang.
I want to make sure. I want to say he's been on the all-star team 15 times.
But he's never a starter.
Never started.
Wow.
14-time all-star. 12-time all-NBA team member.
So here's the question that I have about this. Is this one of those situations where there's only so many positions for all-star starters and he was never the best, or did he lose the popularity contest every time?
It's a little bit of the popular. So this is when he was a power forward in his prime. Kevin Garnett,
Okay.
Tim Duncan,
Right.
Karl Malone, Chris Webber, Rasheed Wallace. That's in the Western Conference.
Yeah. Yikes.
That's in the Western Conference alone. They had to get rid of they had to put Garnett as a small forward so they could make sure for him to get in because he was a key starter too.
Mm.
No, there's so many other power forwards in that time period that got overlooked because of how it was like point guards in like the late 2000s, early 2010s and stuff. How it was just that was 8 of the top 10 players were point guards.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. Yeah. 8 of the top 10 best players in the league were power forwards.
See, this is why I would like to see the All-Star game to go to like a mini 3-on-3 tournament because there's so much talent in the league now and there's only 5 starting spots per conference. There's too much talent, I think, to limit the All-Star game to 5 starting spots anymore. Like it made sense in the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s. I don't think it makes sense anymore.
Well, with the voting for when Dirk was getting all-star votes. That one was still, you had to go to a ballot at a game,
Right.
or you had to go online to NBA.com, which
You
that
couldn't
was
vote every single day in 30
you
seconds
couldn't
from
you
your
couldn't
phone.
go on your, and they
Exactly.
only allowed you to vote one time per day.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to go vote, I did it religiously back in the day. Every day I would be go voting in.
Really?
Every day I would be going to NBA.com. And this is when like internet was there, but just a couple years prior, I had to ask my parents to hang up the phone. Internet. So
well, the NBA did go back to the you can only vote once a day thing. Thank goodness.
they did when they finally realized, like, oh no, social media is
Alex Caruso's
no
getting
one goes
starting.
no one goes to NBA.com. Everyone goes to NBA on their app.
Yep.
Right.
So no, that's the travesty. And Dirk has always been an A player, but because of the talent at his position, he's always been viewed as an A- player.
He probably played in the only stretch in NBA history where he would have been he missed out on starting that many times at that position.
Okay, third and final question. Which country did Dominique Wilkins play post NBA career? A, Lithuania. B, Greece. C, Italy. Or D, Germany.
This is a total 100% shot in the dark. I'm going to say Greece.
I'm going to say Germany.
It is Greece.
What?
He played, let me go check the date back again. I want to say it was in 95. I know I should have had this picture pulled up right away with it. September 1st, 1995, with the Panathinaikos. Yeah, I can't. It's part of the
Greek words. Greek words.
Part of the further Greek league. So yeah. So okay. So yeah, Jade, your shot in the dark.
Wow.
A half court shot during halftime.
Nice.
Shay, you missed the layup in the first, like the 30-second, like wing some scratchers.
I'm having a bad night.
It's like, oh, everyone's just like, oh, I guess you're not gonna get the $100 worth of scratch offs from Oklahoma. All right. Well, today's been a lot of fun, and I think we got some fun. I think we got deep with some things. We had laughs and everything. Unless Shay and Jade got anything to mention before next episode, I think we can give a peace out. Happy holidays for everybody. If we don't stream next week, we'll give you guys a message if you don't. But on that note,